Hello everyone, this is Honeymaysims and welcome back to my channel for a brand new speed build. If you're new here, hi, welcome in, and if you are a returning viewer, it's so good to see you and I hope you've been well since the last time. So today I am building a vampire's family home in Forgotten Hollow for the spooky season. This was such a fun project to work on because, and I mentioned this in my previous video as well, first of all, I never do builds for Occult Sims, and secondly, darker exterior and interiors are really not within my comfort zone. Kind of prefer lighter, warmer colors and lighter woods, but I did try my best for this one and I think it ended up looking pretty cool in the end, and I hope you will think so as well. So this is built on the 30 by 30 Wolfsbane Manor lot in Forgotten Hollow, where the Decor family originally lives. Forgotten Hollow is the world I came with the Vampires game pack, and this is actually my first time building in this world. I guess I had kind of forgotten about this world, literally. But I do think this small world is kind of neat and is perfect for a spooky build. I enjoyed building here, so hopefully I will make a return to it another time. So the front of the house was inspired by a dollhouse photo I found on Pinterest, and I think I managed to replicate the shape quite well in the game. So I will leave a photo up for you guys to see as well. I wasn't able to see the back of the house though, so I decided to have my creative freedom with it, even though I usually copy the front of the house to the back, if that makes sense, just to have it more somewhat symmetrical, just because that's how I like it. So there is a wraparound porch on both the first and the second floor here, so there's going to be a back door to the backyard as well. There's going to be a tower kind of looking structure mid-front of the house here, and I quite enjoyed doing the roofing on this build. I'm not quite sure how I will be able to explain it well, but you can basically make an extra but smaller floor on top of where you want your roofing, and on the free tiles around that room you can use the half-hipped roof, I believe it's called, and cover up the walls. So in this build, I use a stone fencing on top of the extra floor, and it's probably not the best explanation, but you will see me doing this in the video. So if you want some roofing inspiration, maybe that's something you can do in your own builds as well. I think it works well for these kinds of builds, but I also use this for larger builds sometimes when roofing isn't exactly the easiest thing to do. So originally I was going to go for a lighter exterior than what I ended up with, just to try it out and still be somewhat within my comfort zone, but it also make it more similar to the reference picture. So I do love all white details on houses though, especially when I'm building in The Sims, but don't worry, it's going to look a bit different as the build progresses. So yeah, I wanted to do white details and a dark gray siding on the exterior, but after some time I changed it out for black details like the fencing, columns, friezes, and trims, and those sort of things. And I add brick walls too, because I feel like that suits this whole house more. I do add quite a lot of exterior details to this build, and I thought the walls looked a bit empty, and I'm not sure how often I used the cottage living wisteria before, but I think it was a nice touch to this house. And one of my favorite things to do is add the base game live edit stepping stones as kind of like a path, like here I added from the road and up to the house and also in the backyard. You can see I've already put lots of trees around on the lot, some in the front and some in the back, to make it look more cohesive with the rest of the world. I did have a look around the world of Forgotten Hollow, and there's basically a ton of trees there. So yeah, we ought to have some around the house as well. I just love adding lots of trees in my builds in general, so it was perfect. To make the lot more private, I used one of the live edit brick fences from Cats and Dogs, I believe. It kind of has a more dirty or rundown look to it, which is perfect. In any moment now, you'll see the change from the light exterior to the darker one. And oh yes, I forgot to mention this earlier, but this build has 4 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms. In the tower, there's going to be a bedroom too, though only with a single bed, and I think I put an organ in there, you know, the big instrument thing. I was thinking maybe a butler could stay there if you have that stuff pack, or even Bonehilda, since I did add the seance table from Paranormal here too. So if you want to, you can summon Bonehilda. And technically, you don't necessarily need to have vampires living here. Maybe there's some other kinds of occult sims, or just regular gothic sims, like maybe the Goth family that currently lives in Willow Creek in the original save file when starting a new save. There are lots of options on who might want to live here. There's of course going to be a kitchen and living room. There's also going to be a library or study kind of room. And in the room on the left side of the house with the big windows, there's going to be the dining room. And I can't wait for the interior part later. But before that, I did add even more onto the landscaping. Just lots of plants around the house, some live edited mushrooms, they're just so nice. Some planters and even some tombstones in the backyard. I always use a lot of the debug plants and flowers from base game, and here I wanted to do some more colorful ones just to stand in with the style of, you know, with the autumnal or spooky theme, so just more colorful plants, I feel like. So some yellow, orange flowers, and additionally I wanted to cover up even more of the walls and around the around porch as well, and the vines and the wisteria from Cottage living just fits really well here. I'm not sure if I went too wild with all the greenery though, but yeah, it's not often I do lots of vines and wisteria, so I think I'm okay with it for this build. I just mentioned the tombstones in the backyard, and a cool idea I had was to use the basement tool and create a room below one of the tombstones. So I deleted the roof of that room, raised up the platform, and I added the dirt flooring and walls from base game to kind of make it look like an actual grave. Some extra details I did was the a vampire coffin, and some live edit dirt piles next to the hole, so who knows what suspicious thing has happened here. Maybe you'll come up with an interesting storyline to that. And also in the planters back there, there's going to be 2 cow plants as well, so maybe they go together. Anyway, I just thought that was a cool and different idea, and I also added a basement in the actual house, just with some regular basement clutter things, but also a coffin for a vampire. We're finally having a look at the interior part, and I'm not going to lie, it took me quite a while to figure out how to decorate it. It took me longer than what it actually shows in the video. As I mentioned, this is not my regular style to do, so I had to kind of finish the interior first before I recorded it. That made it a bit easier for me, and that basically means that I finished the interior, I saved the build to my library just in case, and then I removed all the furniture, hit record, and then started doing the interior once again. It just makes it quicker and more smooth without going too much like back and forth like I usually do, and I definitely did that in the beginning when I was being indecisive on what to do with the interior for this build as well. But yeah, in the end I ended up quite satisfied, and my absolute favorite room is the living room. There are lots of bookshelves in general in this house, I feel like, because it just makes a room look nicer sometimes with lots of bookshelves. But yeah, there's a lot of bookshelves in the living room too, and I absolutely love that black fireplace with the gold details. I think it's either from Paranormal or Decor to the Max kit, not too sure exactly. But I did like a painting and shelves wall above the fireplace as well. We got an old TV from Basement Treasures here. We have some cozy couches and armchairs, an old record player from Get Famous, and just some nice clutter here and there to make it more lived in. I had quite small windows in the living room in the beginning, but I changed them out with these big ones from the Romantic Garden pack. And I think those windows are the only thing I used from that pack. They're also in the dining room. So I just think they're so beautiful that I didn't want to change them out, basically. All the walls are pretty dark and simple. They're the ones from Vampire and the Vampire game pack as well. But for the entryway and the upstairs hallway, I did the dark tiger wallpaper from Decor to the Max, and it's just chef's kiss. I love that one. And I also use flooring from Vampires, both the wooden flooring and the beautiful tiles on the floor as well. I feel like the Vampire tiles are often forgotten, but here I finally remembered them. They have very nice swatches, but for the kitchen, dining, and bathrooms, I went for the black and the yellow gold swatch. And yeah, I hope I succeeded with the spooky theme. And speaking of a spooky theme, it's actually just a month until Halloween now. I know not everyone celebrates it. It's kind of a cultural thing if you do or not. Depends on where you live, of course. And I feel like I celebrated it more when I was younger, like dressing up as a witch or a vampire or something like that and going trick or treating around the neighborhood. But now that I'm older, I feel like Halloween is kind of just like any other day. Don't get me wrong, a lot of people in Norway, where I'm from, still celebrates it. Like, just going to parties, dressing up, things like that. But I'm very much of an introvert, so that's not really my thing. But let me know in the comments, do you celebrate it? Do you have any plans for this year's Halloween? Will you be dressing up, and as what? I also know a lot of people watch movies for Halloween, either spooky ones or more family-friendly ones. I don't really do that either, to be honest, but I know a lot of people watch movies like Hocus Pocus, Beetlejuice, or Nightmare Before Christmas, like those kinds of movies. One that I used to watch when I was a kid was Charlie Brown and the Great Pumpkin. I have such cozy but still like vague memories watching that movie. Or was it, I think maybe it was just an episode of the series. I don't remember actually, but it was actually aired on television every year on Cartoon Network or one of the other channels, I think. Recently, I've actually been wanting to watch Peanuts again, or is that the name? The Charlie Brown show, anyway. It's just so nostalgic, and I feel like a lot of the Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, Disney shows just give me nostalgia. So yeah. Do you have any favorite Halloween movies, by the way? Let me know as well if you want to share. Anyway, back to the build. The kitchen, I'd say, is quite simple, dark and spacious, with a big island in the middle. Not really a lot to say about the kitchen, I feel like. But as for the dining room, I didn't know you could make plasma nectar with the Horse Ranch expansion pack, but guess what? You definitely can, because I found some in the debug section. So I had to put a few bottles here and there in the dining room, and on the dining table, and also on the cute little like trolley thing besides it. I don't know what it's called. But yeah, I cluttered the table with plates, wine glasses, nectar bottles, and some red flowers. I also found a gramophone from the high school years pack, and I put it in one of the corners in the sunroom. So one of the bedrooms has an astrology theme, which I thought the Realm of Magic bed would be perfect for. Well, I kind of thought of the theme because of the bed, because it has this beautiful swatch with purple and blue colored glass with stars and whatnot. And also, if you weren't aware, we got a function to paint ceilings in base game in an update a few months ago. And I thought for this room, the starry sky ceiling paint would be perfect here. And I've never used this one before because I feel like you would need a very special kind of room to use it, or of course you could use it for a kid's room as well. But yeah, I think it goes well with the theme here, so I just went with it. In the windows you will find the star wall lights. I think they're so cute, and I believe they're also from base game. And this turns out to be a very purple lavender room. Meanwhile, the other room besides this one is very blue turquoise. I quite enjoy color coordinating bedrooms actually, and I think it makes it more fun to do bedrooms because I usually struggle a bit with them. So yeah, the purple bedroom also gets an older looking vanity table from vintage Glamour, just some makeup and their own crystal ball. It's sadly not functional on just any kind of surface. You would need one of the very specific tables, I think, from that pack, which I have added in another room with a secret bookshelf door with a ladder to the third floor bedroom. So what's a Spookyville without a secret room, right? The blue bedroom also comes with a double bed, and I wanted so badly to use the kind of older but fancy looking high school years one in the darker swatch. So I went for that, and I also felt like I kind of overused some of the Realm of Magic paintings in this house, but I put some of them in here as well. Also on the right hand side wall by the bed there, I put one of those big wall murals that came with the Werewolves pack. One that has a few different blue colors, I believe, so that kind of set the tone for the rest of the room too. We got some toys in here, a big vampire looking stuffed animal that the kids can play around with, and a desk for schoolwork. I use that hanging plant from Blooming Rooms everywhere, and I just can't stop it. I feel like the kids are really growing on me by now. I'd have to say we have a nice collection of different themes by now. I can't lie, I kind of like them, but they're still overpriced. And in this bedroom I also put the paranormal creature spirit in the glass bowl thing. I have literally no idea how to explain it or what it's called, but you will see it here. So I chose the blue colored spirit thing, so it's all very cohesive and we love a cohesive room and color scheme. There is also like a library study kind of room in this house, and I would say it's pretty simple. We have some bookshelves, as I mentioned earlier, lots of bookshelves in this house. We have like a desk with the old fashioned kind of looking computer that is from Cottage Living. We also have this very nice painting wall, I would say. Sometimes I really like to do those. So yeah, we did them here. There's also like a couch, an armchair, and also the trolley thing again with some nectar and those good things. And also, you know, just some plants there in the bay window. And of course, the hanging plant from Blooming Rooms has to be included. The main bedroom is very simple, I'd say. I finally used the overly fancy Get Famous bed here. I have to say, I quite like it. It has some wild swatches, but it does have some more neutral colors too. So I ended up with a darker swatch, and the main bedroom also has its own bathroom and walk-in closet, which is more like a cluttered wardrobe with some boxes, I think, a big standing mirror, and a chest on top of the dresser. So yeah, pretty simple and nice. So that's basically it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and a follow for more content in the future. If you want to be notified of when I upload a video next, make sure to click the bell icon too. This build is playtested and up on my gallery. My ID is Honeymaysims, or you can find me with the hashtag Honeymaysims as well. So thank you all so much for hanging out with me today as we build this spooky vampires build. And I can't wait to talk to you all in the next video. Until then, take care. Bye!